It is February 17th, 2021. We're here on the rooftop of the house located at 9391 Broadview Avenue in San Diego, California, 92123. So we're here on the rooftop above the master bathroom that would be the left side of the house when you enter in through the front door. So there's the neighbor's property there. So right here we have our 2-inch vent, which leads directly into the main sewer for the toilet that is off the master bathroom. And we're just going to scan across the rooftop here. You can see all these other 3 little vent pipes also protruding up from the roof, because we have a shower stall here. And then over we have a double sink, and then the other vent, we have a half bathroom, which is accessible when you come through the front door to the left off the living and dining room area. That's the other vent, is for that other bathroom where that also enters into the system. So we're going to start here, going down this original 2-inch vent. So this is a metal vent pipe. Okay, now this is turning into cast iron, and you can see right here on the bottom of the screen with just some toilet paper or some wipes or some other buildup. That's where the toilet closet arm is dumping into the system. So this is officially the beginning of the sewer line here. So this is the original cast iron pipe. We're now making the turn from that horizontal, from the vertical into the horizontal. Get our camera to swing in there. There we go. Okay, so you can see right here that unfortunately we have roots intruding in the line. So the cast iron pipe is cracked, and we've got some roots intruding all on the top and side walls. You can see all those little small roots right there, all inside the line. So the cast iron pipe is failing, unfortunately. So you can see all that little web of roots right there, all getting in. So unfortunately the cast iron is at the end of its life cycle now, and all these little stringy roots are growing in because the pipe is cracked and broken. Now here we've got a turn on the system. It's making essentially almost about a right-hand turn, it looks like, with this 90. Let's see if our camera's having a little bit of difficulty maneuvering through this turn right here. There we go. Now this cast iron, so far after that turn, we don't see any crack or fissure lines in it with roots yet, but it's all the same age of pipe. So the likelihood that it's on its way out would be really good, since the other stuff is all the same age. Got a little chunk of buildup in there from something. I don't know if that was some debris that was flushed down or something that came off the wall of the pipe at some point. It's quite large, so I don't know if it would be anything we didn't pass. Now it looks like there might be a little bit of roots right there on the upper right hand side of the screen, as you're seeing. So I do think we've got a little bit trying to get through right there, so that the line is actually fissuring throughout, which again is what we'd expect. Typically you're not going to see it in one big spot and not see it in the rest of it, that it wouldn't need to be recoated or replaced. So we can see some swelling on the right and left hand side right there, and on the right hand side those little tiny sticks, almost those look like little miniature roots, probably trying to get through the line right there. Can definitely see some swelling of the lines on the right and left. That's the wall of the pipe kind of giving way and rusting and corroding out, and swelling inside as it rusts and corrodes. Another big chunk of debris right there. Okay, we've either got some type of paper, towelette, or wipe, something that's hung up, or it's some regular paper caught up maybe on a little root ball there. We'll see if as we run through this if that comes off or not. Now it looks like that's a heavier wipe of some type. It's not just toilet paper, so that's why that's hung up on the line. Some more swelling on the left-hand side of the pipe right there. Again, this is original cast irons. You kind of expect you're going to see some buildup and scaling and deposits, but obviously what we're seeing right here are some big chunks of stuff and the walls of the pipe that are starting to kind of give a little bit. So we're going to pause the recording for 1 second because it's a little bit cloudy from some of the debris went through, so we're going to go ahead and flush the toilet to kind of clean off the lens here. Okay, so we've run some water here to kind of clean off our lens a little bit, make sure we get as good of a view as we can here. Just backing up a little bit on these areas we've already seen. So again, there was that towelette or wipe, little piece of debris we saw. I'm going to start pushing back forward again here to go down the line. It does appear that this is a 3-inch pipe, not a 4-inch. Another wipe that was put down there. So even the wipes that say flushable, you cannot put down sewer systems. They're going to clog, snag. Even on newer plastic pipe, they'll do that. They don't dissolve and break apart, and they will lead to stoppages, especially in cast iron pipe that's extremely rough with all these edges. Okay. So again, just some scale and buildup of deposits on the walls of the pipe that's got it slightly constricted, but no cracking right here that's allowing any type of roots in because we're farther within the foundation of the house compared to where we started with the first toilet that was in the corner of the house near an outside edge. That's just some little stringy debris hanging down the line, some hair, whatnot. Okay, looks like that's another T-junction right there. Still all original cast iron. Again, you can see all these mounds and this buildup. So normally, sometimes if you need to, you can sometimes try to hydrojet and scrape some of that out. But with older piping, you have to be very careful because if you're too aggressive, it's going to go ahead and cause the pipe to crack and fail a lot quicker when you're trying to scrape all that debris out of the system. Additionally, right here on the rooftop, across the entire perimeter of the house, we've walked everywhere. We only have 2-inch vents. So an hydrojetter really can't get a proper style good cleaning head to get into the 3 and eventually 4-inch pipes to really clean these out. Camera's kind of bouncing around there trying to get over all these humps there, you can see. The house is on slab, so there's not an easy fix to get all these pipes replaced, unfortunately. Some more little mounded up debris right here. And then it looks like right here we're coming up to the original property line clean out. So we should be outside of the house, several feet in front of the sidewalk area. And that's where this cast iron pipe is going to make a vertical change right here to go down to get deeper and then become horizontal again and then continue across. Now, we know from when we pulled up to the property, there is a property line clean out that the city installed in the sidewalk from some of their work that the contractors for the city did to replace or reline probably from the sidewalk out into the street to abandon the clay pipe that used to probably be there. We'll check that out, but first we're going to see if we can even maneuver. So this is a hard 90-degree turn, so this is a sanitary T. They didn't use a 45 or a long sweep 90. They used a quick turning 90 and a T-junction. So again, you can see vertically up, the pipe kind of opens up. That would have gone up to an original cap that would have been for the original property line area for the testing purposes. They just never brought these to surface. But also because of the style of T that they use with this quick turning 90, it prevents the cameras from being able to make this 90-degree turn right here. So The spring sometimes can initially start to make the turn, but the stiff push rod that sits behind our cameras can't usually. So we'll go ahead and locate to see where this is at, see how far it is from the existing clean out that the city put in at the sidewalk. To note that if need be, we may have to try to come back with another camera to try to look at the rest of this cast iron. But again, we first want to see where we're at. There may only be literally 2 or 3 feet left to where the city replaced their junction, just beyond this point. So we're now going to go ahead and pause and move over to a second camera we have down the other vents that are right here next to the one we're at. Okay, here's our first camera with the vent we just went down, and again, as we pointed out, we have these 3 other vents. So we'll go ahead and go down this vent stacks here to see what we can show. Same thing, a steel vent here. Here's our cast iron pipe. It looks like this is the vent actually for the other toilet for the powder bathroom. That's the T-junction where it's emptying in possibly, or it's one of the sink ones, but it looks like it might be for the toilet. Here's our transition into the horizontal for the main sewer here. So we'll look across this line right here. So again, just some mounding and buildup, but no roots or anything else. And here's our other red-orange push rod from the first camera. So we've already come up to the point where this other line intersects with what we've already seen. So we'll now go ahead and pause and look down the next vent. Okay, so again, there's the original starting point of the master toilet. We just came to this one. We have this other vent, which that should be for the 2 lavatory sinks for the master bath. And then we have this other 2-inch vent here. So this is probably going to be for the lavatory for the powder bathroom. So the same thing, 2-inch steel vent. There's our connection T right there where the sink drain should dump into. Again, this is a smaller 2-inch line. Doesn't always give us access to get across everything here, but we'll give it a try really quick. So you can see some of the buildup right there. It looks like we're seeing a little bit of debris there, and I don't know if those little white stringy things or if those are tiny roots trying to get in the line, or if that's just some other debris. We can't get any further past this point. We'll go ahead and pause for 1 second, run a little bit of water down the sink. Okay, so we ran a little bit of water and it was going by this drain. Now we can see that little white piece there. That actually looks like a little piece of string or dental floss. So that's not a root right there, definitely. This is the horizontal 2-inch pipe. We're not going to be able to push any further across this. You can again see there's some normal buildup. That's across this line right here. We can't get the camera all the way through, but it is functioning, and we'll have normal stoppages because of that buildup, but we're going to move over to the next vent right here. A little bit of cobwebs in here. We're going to try to get those out. We may have to pull the camera back up if a bunch get in the way, but yeah, there's a bunch in there. We're going to pause for a second to clean that up. Okay, we'll go back down here and see if we got most of them out. Looks like they kind of clumped up right there on us. Get by that. So again, we don't know how far we'll be able to get down into the system here, but we'll just show it to give every opportunity. There's the drain right there where it dumps into the system. Looks like little hair and debris kind of in there. Those could be a web of roots, actually. Doesn't look like that's a lot of hair, but it's possible. We know we have roots in the toilet lying off of that. Yeah, there's a bunch of little ones right there. Looks like those are roots intruding in the line there. Now they're just everywhere. And right here, it already dumps into the main sewer right here. So this is already where the line is making its drop and turn. So we were able to get through this entire 2-inch line. You can see a bunch of roots and debris right there where this runs across to then go ahead and eventually go into the main. So you can see all these roots right here. So in fact, that 2-inch line was full of little miniature roots that are basically there. So just like the master toilet here, this is the master sink drains. They are unfortunately at the end of their life and will have to be replaced, unfortunately. You can see the line is completely intruding, so it's cracking and breaking. It's all fissured, and that's allowing these roots to grow in on the system here. So this master bathroom, which is essentially side by side or back to back with the powder bathroom, is all going to have to be redone. It can't be relined. There's too many T-junctions. You would basically just have to tear it all out, open up the slab and replace the piping underground, redo everything, unfortunately, if you wanted to completely solve the problem. Otherwise, you'd have to try to maintain the line and keep it going, but no guarantee how long or how effective that's going to be, because every time you have to cable or snake or try to clean the line with something, it's going to agitate the pipe even more and cause more of it to flake, crack, and break apart and let the opening even larger for more intrusions to occur on the system. So we're now going to pause and move over to try to scope the kitchen and laundry. Okay, so right here, here's the skylight above the kitchen. Here's our 1.5-inch metal kitchen vent. Again, these are 1-inch cameras. There's no guarantee we're going to get through, especially if the vent has turns. But the kitchen lines are obviously usually notorious to have tons of obviously scale and buildup from food and grease and deposits. So a lot of times we don't have a lot of success trying to get through old original cast iron kitchen lines, but we'll at least give it an attempt to look at the system. This is a copper vent pipe. Now it's transitioning into the cast iron. You can see on the top part of the screen right there, we've got the T-junction where the trap arm for the drain is dumping into the line. So this is where everything starts to get into the system. Okay, we're already making a turn right here on the system, and we're kind of losing the image, and we can feel on our camera that it's not going to push through that 90. So we're not going to be able to look at that portion of the system. And as we pulled out our camera here on the rooftop, it's just full of normal buildup, which is what you'd expect. So you can see on our paper towel here all this black gunk from the food and grease and other debris that gets poured down the kitchen lines over time. We're just wiping off our lens and our spring here. So again, this is all that debris. So this is normal for any home. So over time, this kitchen line will need to be snaked and cleared, obviously, maybe even a light hydrojetting with a small hydrojetter if need be. But we're not going to be able to get through that, kind of what we expected. So we're going to pause and move over to the laundry. Okay, so there was the kitchen vent that we just went down, that skylight. Here's our solar over the roof of the garage. There's our water heater vent right there, and here we have 2 vent pipes. We do have a utility sink, and then we have the stand pipe for the laundry. So they actually ran them a few feet apart, so where they, for some reason, ran 2 individual vents. They could have just teed them together inside the wall, but they just didn't do that. So we'll go ahead and go down the laundry one here first. It again will probably junction into the kitchen drain line. That's how, because it's so close and how most homes are set up. So we may not be able to get very far. Here's the T-junction where the trap dumps into this vent pipe. Here's our little turn, and we're now in the pipe right here. So you can see there's a little bit of standing water in the system right there. You can see some of the lint and other buildup that's in the pipe right there. So we do have some constant standing water in the pipe right here. Might be due to the way the pipe was originally put in, being kind of flat or slightly uphill, which it's not supposed to be, of course, or just some buildup at the turn or the piping there. we are able to get through most of this so far, so it is opening enough. Line is now getting constricted right there, as you can see as we go forward. So there's some heavy buildup that's starting up right there. Again, we don't force the issue down 2-inch pipes because we're usually just doing a sewer inspection, but we thought we'd just at least give it every attempt. But if we push any further, this little mound of debris that we're pushing and coming up on this area here could lead to an immediate stoppage, and we're here just to do usually a sewer scope. This is a drain line, so if we go any further, we're probably going to cause a stoppage because all this mounded buildup is going to collect at this choke point and basically allow it to seal up, and then it'll have to be snaked and cleared, and we're not going to cause that. So that's why we don't usually do the 2-inch lines, but we thought we'd give every attempt that we could here at this home, since we found some problems with the main sewers right off the bat, and then even that 2-inch line for the master as well. So the laundry here, as you can see though, is mostly nice and open. Where that was getting choked down is probably possibly close to the T-junction, where it might even be picking up the kitchen, and that might have been why we saw that other buildup there. So again, here's that little bit of standing water. It looks like it's just the way the pipe was put in as it comes up to this T-junction for this turn on the line right here. So not the ideal situation. You obviously need water to always be draining out so it's not sitting in the pipe, causing faster deterioration and corrosion of the line. And additionally, that means that it's not sloped the right way due to all the conditions that might have occurred over time or just originally. So that slows the draining process out and lets things snag and build up. But overall, it is quite open, but at some point it's going to need to be snaked and cleared because of all that buildup we saw there, and the kitchen line as well. So we would probably recommend before moving in to possibly have these 2 lines snaked and even mini hydrojetted just to clean them out and start fresh. But other than that, that's all we can assess to this point, since we're not going to be able to get all the way through them. So we're now going to pause and move over to the other bathrooms that we have on this side of the house. Okay, so you can see right there we've moved away from the kitchen and laundry, and as you come into the house to past the kitchen to the right side, we are now above the bathrooms on this side of the house. We have the 2 bathrooms that are back to back. We can't get into one of them. We did run water in the other one that looks like it's not being used. The other one, I believe, has a caregiver and somebody in there, so we couldn't access that. But we only have one vent over here, so the bathrooms all must be exactly back to back with each other, almost like the master bathroom is with the powder bathroom. There's a little vent T-junction right there, and there's another one right there. So we expected to see that. Since there's only one vent pipe right here, it branches off to collect the tubs, showers, and lavatory sinks. Original metal and cast iron pipe. Here's where the toilets are both dumping into the line. We're going to pause for a second and get these cobwebs and debris off our camera lens. Okay, so again, here's where the 2 toilets, you can see the pipe opens up essentially in 4 ways. It goes up for the vent, to the left and right for the 2 toilets, and then continues down for the sewer. So this is the beginning of the sewer for these 2 bathrooms on this side of the house. Here's our transition from the vertical into the horizontal. Okay, so you can see that there's a bunch of debris right here stuck in the line, also some water that's standing. It looks like those might be possibly some paper products. And yeah, you can see the texture of them right there. So somebody's unfortunately flushing down some wipes or towelettes down the line. So those might need to be simply snaked and augered out of the system and flushed out of the piping there. So this is all still original cast iron pipe on this side of the house as well. You can see it looks a lot cleaner than the other side of the house though. As far as the mounding is a lot less. There's a lot less scale and buildup and deposits. And obviously so far we also don't have any roots intruding. Looks like that's just some little hair, little debris there in the line. Doesn't look like roots. Little black stuff right there. I mean, it could be. Can't say for certain though right there, but it's certainly possible. It is quite long to be hair and is dark in color. So there's a good possibility it is, but we cannot say 100%. So we'll see if we see any more evidence farther up on the system. Got a little bit more standing water here for some reason. Maybe just the way the pipe and a little bit of mounding there, it looks like. That was all. See a little bit of mounding right there. Again, it's still a lot more open than the other main sewer. Much more circular with less buildup. Grabbing a little bit of debris right there with our camera lens. A little bit of standing water right here. So again, these little mounds periodically are just holding up just a little bit of water on occasion here. A little bit of heavier mounds, as you can see right here on the right and left hand side. But again, nothing right now that needs to be jetted. And also the problem is that we're dealing with a 2-inch vent access, so really couldn't be scraped very well with the jetting process. But doesn't need it right now on this side yet. A little bit more mounding and some pockets of water here again. So again, not the ideal situation, but not too bad. Okay, here we have a turn on the line. Now we're not sure if this line does intersect with the other bathroom. We did leave the other camera push rod pushed into this left in the system, so if it does tee into this and runs all the way across to the other side of the house, we will eventually see our other push rod. Again, some more mounding and buildup causing some areas of stagnant water to hang out in the line right there, not drain out. Not finding any more roots though in the line on this side of the house. So that one little area, still we're not sure if it was roots or not, but we've not encountered any more, so that's the only good news. Just a lot more areas though where there's some pockets of water being hung up here and there throughout the system, as you can see as we try to go down these little areas and little gullies and valleys here. We go up and down here. So this one's starting to get a little more common, unfortunately, than from when we first started into this part of the system from this side of the house. Okay, and there is in fact our other push rod. So we did go all the way from this side of the house to the other, which is what we kind of expected. They usually don't run two separate mains out through the foundation, but we weren't positive. So here's the other push rod where this line intersects with the other main sewer for the other side of the house. So we've come to that point where we've already inspected all of that. So we're now going to go ahead and pause the video, and we're going to go ahead and locate the first camera where we left that at the property line clean out in the front yard to see where we're at in distance to the other clean out that the city installed. Okay, so we've now moved back to the original camera where we stopped because we couldn't get past this property line clean out. So we've gone ahead and located this with the camera, and this is basically 4 feet in front of the sidewalk, and then you've got another 4 feet of the sidewalk, and then barely another foot before the other property line clean out is that the city workers or their contractor installed. So we will go ahead and try with another special camera reattached to this one and see if we can get by this vertical pipe as well as the other almost 10 feet that needs to be inspected to make sure there's no roots intruding, cracked pipes, or misalignments in those sections, especially where it then retransitions into another pipe. So This pipe right here is 2 feet 2 inches deep approximately to the bottom of the pipe. And so we've got this marked in the front yard, and we'll put a flag in the ground denoting the location of this buried. So if we cannot actually get our other camera to go by here, then at some point in time the line might need to be dug up at this clean out so it can be cut off the top and brought to surface so that the rest of it can either be looked at or possibly even maintained if needed. So we're going to pause the video while we pull this camera out to get another one attached to try to get beyond this point. Okay, so you can see we have tons of roots in the system, so it was a good thing we spent the time and got a second camera attached in front of this that can maneuver through. Now, it's a very small camera that's not self-leveling, so the picture may be kind of here or there. Now, the water we had running everywhere, so in a few more seconds here it'll stop running, although we do have to make sure that the home inspection and realtors aren't running water as well. But we shut all the water off, so shortly here we should see this water finally subside, and we'll get a little bit more of a clear picture once it stops bouncing in front of the lens. But you can see right here we have tons of roots intruding in the system, and so this is in the front yard past that property line clean out that the first camera couldn't get by. So that will need to be dug up so that this line can then be repaired and or maintained. You'd have those couple options. Now, obviously, if all these roots are in there, that means that something's gone bad with the pipe, and it's probably better to just replace it. However, once you get up to the city sidewalk, we can't really undo the sidewalk without major expenditures for permitting the sidewalk closure. So the likelihood that you could undermine it and dig all the way across to the plastic pipe the city put in, it's kind of not exactly. So anyway, this does need to be repaired. As you can see, it's blocking a majority of the pipe right there, and so at the bare minimum, if somebody didn't want to try to completely replace it or reline it, you'd have to at least bring up that property line clean out that we showed, which we'll pull back here in a minute and show again, so that can be brought to surface so we can tear and rip out all the roots and then look at the overall condition of the cast iron as it goes across for this other 10 feet or so until it connects to the plastic pipe, and then it can either be maintained with a foaming root chemical if it's not too bad. Otherwise, it'll have to be just completely dug up and replaced or relined those several feet across so you get to the newer plastic. So you can see how bad they are right there. We're now going to go ahead and start pulling back in reverse. We're going to have 2 quick 90s here in a row, in fact. So as we come back up here, that's already the first 90, and then just a foot or so up, and then here's the original clean out. So the camera image is upside down right there, but this is the clean out right here that the first camera got stopped at. So let's see a little bit better right there as we kind of back up. But again, this is a small camera that kind of maneuvers in and out. So right there, the inverted image, that's where the property line clean out is that we have marked. So we're going to go ahead and pause and pull these cameras out. Okay, we pulled about half of the way back. We are going to turn our camera back on here. Here was that debris that was in the line, the wipes. And we're just going to go, and I don't know how good the view is going to be with this particular camera, but we want to show one more time coming back in reverse. There's some more wipes that were flushed down there. Those roots, if they show up with this camera. So as we come back across here, there's that little web of roots all lining the pipe right there. It's kind of hard to see it real clearly. The other camera obviously was much better with the initial inspection. There's the little web of roots right there as well. You can see here's the heavier ones that are just lining all of this cast iron right here. So this is all under the slab of that master bathroom, so it has to be dug up to be replaced, because we also found them in the 2-inch drain that's here for the master lavatory faucets as well, the 2 sinks. So there's all those roots. So there's the crack and the break in the pipe. There you can see on the top, this portion, and it's letting all of them grow in from the top and down and in. So we just wanted to show that one more time here when we come back in reverse. Okay, now we're coming back up the vent, so we're going to pause the video. Okay, so we moved our camera down to ground level here at the front of the house. So here we have these red and a yellow disc. That's denoting the path of the pipe, and then you can see at the yellow disc is where we have the green flag in the ground, as we mentioned, and this is the property line clean out at 25 inches deep. So below that, the pipe goes from horizontal to vertical and then back to horizontal again, and that's where all these roots are, just underneath all the front yard right here. So that needs to be tore out, cleaned up, and then looked again with a camera to see if there's any more problems with the pipe that can cause it to fail quickly, or it can be maintained. And then it runs under the sidewalk. And then here's the property line clean out that the city contractors put in as a new one when they redid the pipe, so we'll look at that. So again, this right here is what needs to be exposed, brought to surface to clean and rip out the roots right now. Okay, we're now going to go down this ABS plastic pipe. I'm sorry, PVC pipe. This is PVC greenbelt pipe. So this will lead into the horizontal pipe. Now we just heard some water being flushed. There's a home inspection also going on here besides our camera inspection, so the home inspector are running water for their test purposes. So we can see right here that the pipe was relined. So the color that you're seeing right here was the original clay pipe, and we're going to push through this here when we got the water running, so we don't have perfect visibility here, but it may clear up when the water stops or we get all the way out. So we're pushing across, and here you go. There's the new white plastic pipe that the city put in. So you can see the numbers and the letters that are imprinted on the side wall there. So they replaced all that line here, about 36 feet out from this clean out access point. And as you back up across here, we have the original line right here. And we just got to verify that it was relined. Or if it is still original clay and they just did one access point, but probably would have been relined. And we're just gonna, we can see some little folds right there in the pipe, and so you're looking at the bottom of the screen where the water's not creating any waves. You can kind of see the little miniature pieces, and that's normally the material, the liner that we put in there that then gets an epoxy coated across it, creates that little waving effect. So the original pipe would have been clay, and then they relined it, so that's why they dug up here at the property line so they could go ahead and recoat part of that. So we can see right here, there's the coating that goes over the pipe right there. So originally, again, this was clay, and then they shot in a spray liner to coat this so that you can't get roots growing in the clay, because the clay is very susceptible to root intrusions. Probably had some in there, but that's all been ripped out. If there were intrusions, I should say, ripped out, and then the pipe was coated for this 36-foot run until it gets to the white plastic pipe in the city. So this line is all in good condition, which is what we expected since we saw this new clean out installed here. So we're now coming back up this PVC pipe. So again, this is right on the other side of the sidewalk. Here's the curb right there. So the flag back there, though, we couldn't get all the way across because of the roots, so that's what needs to be done initially, and the other lines may be able to be maintained as well as that one, but it first needs to be extended and cleaned out to verify that. So that concludes the recording for this property.